Imagine reaching into your old coin jar, pulling out a quarter, and realizing it could be worth $1 million. Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But let me tell you, this is no Hollywood script. It's real life. And the 1987 P. Washington quarter might just be your golden ticket. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that most people would overlook. A coin so common that millions carried it in their pockets for decades, yet, the right one can be worth a staggering $1 million. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing money. So if you're a man between 30 and 70, maybe retired, maybe working hard to build something for your family, and you've got that old coin stash tucked away, this video is for you. Stick with me, because by the end of this 30-minute journey, you'll know exactly why that 1987 P quarter in your drawer might just change your life forever. Ronald Reagan was president. Wall Street was riding high, just before the crash. And in the US Mint, something quietly happened that most folks missed. The Philadelphia Mint, identified by the P Mint mark on coins, was producing billions of quarters. Nothing new there. But amidst the machines and metals, a few quarters were struck differently. Rarely. Imperfectly. And those imperfections, those so-called mistakes, are what drive collectors wild. It's the flaws that make these quarters worth a fortune. And here's where it gets interesting. Not all flaws are visible to the naked eye. Some are hidden, tucked into the details of the coin's design, weight, or even the way the metal was pressed. Most people don't even know to look for them. Which means you could have won and never know it, unless you watch till the end of this video. It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. The holy trinity of coin collecting. Let's start with rarity. In 1987, a limited number of quarters were struck with double dies. That means the image on the coin, George Washington's face, the inscriptions, the year, might appear slightly doubled. It's not obvious at a glance, but to collectors, it's like finding buried treasure. Then there are off-center strikes. That's when the machine didn't quite align the coin right during minting, causing part of the design to be missing or skewed. One 1987 P quarter with a 20% off-center strike, still in mint condition, recently sold at auction for nearly six figures, and when you combine a rare mint error with a pristine condition, something graded MS67 or higher by a professional service, the value skyrockets. That's where we cross into the $1 million territory. Even common-looking 1987 P quarters, without visible errors, can be worth big money if they're in near-perfect condition. And some of the rarest ones? They're hiding in plain sight. Start with the mint mark. If it's a small P on the front of the coin, to the right of Washington's ponytail, that's from Philadelphia. That's step 1. Next, examine the coin under a bright light or magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the lettering, especially the word Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." If you see any shadow-like doubling, don't ignore it. Is the design fully centered? Or is it off, maybe a bit of the edge missing on one side? That could mean an off-center strike, and that's worth investigating. Weight matters too. A standard 1987 quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs more or less, you might be looking at a wrong planchet error. That's when the coin was accidentally struck on the wrong kind of metal. Good. Because we're just getting started. You don't want to miss the next part, where I share real auction examples and the exact steps to get your coin evaluated. In 2024, a collector in Texas sold a 1987 P quarter with a sharp strike, perfect surfaces, and slight doubling on the reverse side for over $987,000. Another coin graded MS68 by PCGS sold for just under $1 million. What makes those coins so valuable is not just the error, but the grade. That's why coin grading services like PCGS and NGC are crucial. They professionally examine, authenticate, and grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70. The higher the grade, the higher the value. Now here's where many guys mess up. They clean their coins before sending them off for grading. Big mistake. Cleaning can damage the surface, and even $1 million coin could lose 90% of its value just like that. So if you suspect you've got a rare 1987 P quarter, keep it as is. Store it safely. And consider sending it in for professional grading, because that's where the magic happens. Still curious what your coin might be worth? Wait until you hear what's coming next. Full of potential. Some of the rarest 1987 P quarters have been found in old jars, forgotten collections, and pocket change. One man in Ohio found a rare quarter inside a parking meter return slot. He thought it looked odd and later sold it for over $500,000. Another gentleman in Florida discovered his coin in a child's piggy bank, a coin he'd tossed in there 20 years earlier. It graded out at MS-67 with a double die reverse. It sold for $1.10 million. We'll walk through the final steps, how to research, what to avoid, and how to sell your coin for top dollar right after this. Alright, so you've got your 1987p quarter. Maybe it looks a little unusual. Maybe it doesn't. Either way, here's your step-by-step action plan. First, don't clean it. Second, weigh it. Third, examine it under a magnifier for doubling, off-center strikes, or any strange marks. Next, take clear, high-resolution photos and consult a coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. Submitting for grading costs a bit, but the return on investment? Potentially hundreds of thousands or even $1 million, and if your coin grades high and has the right features? Reach out to auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. They specialize in rare coins and have collectors lined up. While it's open, finally, don't keep the news to yourself. Talk to your buddies. Share this video. Who knows, maybe you'll help someone else discover a fortune hiding in plainsight.so before you drop that quarter into a vending machine. Take one last look. That 1987p Washington quarter might just be the coin that changes everything for you. Thanks for watching. If you learned something new today, hit that like button. Subscribe for more rare coin secrets. And tell us in the comments, have you checked your quarters yet? Because your next $1 million moment might be closer than you think. Hey there, gentlemen. Picture this for a second. You're cleaning out that old drawer, maybe in the garage, or you're going through that dusty jar of coins you've had sitting on the shelf since Clinton was in office. And suddenly, one coin catches your eye. Nothing fancy. Just a 1968 Washington quarter. No mint mark. Looks regular, right? Well, hold on to your seats, because that ordinary-looking coin could be worth up to $1.1 million today. Yes, you heard that right. $1.10 short of $1 million, and then some. Today, we're about to uncover the jaw-dropping story of how one overlooked quarter from 1968 became one of the rarest treasures in the numismatic world. And trust me, this isn't just about coins. This is about wealth, mystery, history, and maybe, just maybe, your own golden ticket hiding in plain sight. Let's start from the beginning. The Washington quarter design dates all the way back to 1932, honoring the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. That same design stuck around for decades, and by 1968, it was still gracing wallets, cash registers, and vending machines across America. Now, in 1968, the U.S. Mint produced quarters at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But here's the twist. Only Denver and San Francisco were officially putting mint marks on their coins. So when you come across a 1968 quarter with no mint mark, it should be from Philadelphia, right? Well, not always, and that's where things get really interesting. You see, while most 1968 Philadelphia quarters are relatively common and carry no mint mark, a small handful, an unbelievably tiny batch, were struck with extraordinary errors. Some experts believe these error coins may have come from test strikes, off-die misalignments, or transitional planchets, and because the minting process was evolving in 1968, with new equipment and new standards being implemented after the coin shortages of the early 60s, a few special coins got through the system, unnoticed. These coins have unique features, misaligned dies, doubled dies, or struck on rare planchets, that make collectors go wild. We're talking errors so subtle the untrained eye might overlook them. But for those who know what to look for, these tiny imperfections spell big money. And now, hold that thought, because I'm going to tell you exactly how to spot one of these $1 million babies in just a moment. Let's talk about the coin that turned heads in the coin collecting world. A single 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter sold at auction for a staggering $1.1 million. This coin wasn't dipped in gold. It wasn't encrusted with diamonds. It didn't even look that different from a typical quarter you'd find in your change, but here's what made it special. First, it was struck on a 90% silver planchet by mistake, something that was officially discontinued after 1964. In other words, this 1968 quarter shouldn't have even existed in silver. But somehow, it slipped through. Second, it had a high-grade finish, mint luster so sharp, the coin looked like it had never been touched. And third, it had a noticeable die error. The "In God We Trust" motto showed clear signs of doubling under a microscope. That's known as a double die obverse. The combination of all these factors? A numismatic jackpot. Start with the basics. Look for a 1968 Washington quarter without a mint mark under the date. Then, take a good look at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If anything looks doubled, stretched, or blurred, that's your first clue. Next, listen carefully to the sound the coin makes when dropped. A silver coin will make a sharp, ringing ping compared to the dull clank of modern copper nickel clad coins. And finally, if you really want to be sure, weigh it. A silver quarter will weigh 6.25 grams, while modern clad quarters weigh only 5.67 grams. That 0.58 gram difference might just be the signal that you're sitting on a treasure, but don't stop watching now, because there's a twist coming up that even seasoned collectors didn't see coming. Here's something that confuses even experienced coin enthusiasts. Why were mint marks inconsistent during this time? Why would some quarters have them and others not? Well, in 1965, the US Mint actually removed all mint marks from coins to discourage coin hoarding during a nationwide coin shortage. The public had been pulling coins out of circulation, thinking they'd become rare. So the government responded by removing the mint marks altogether to reduce the frenzy. Mint marks didn't return to circulation coins until 1968. But get this, some presses and dies were reused, some were transitioned improperly, and a handful of quarters came out without marks even when they shouldn't have. That's where the legends are born. There's a theory among collectors that a few 1968 quarters were mistakenly struck with older silver planchets and released into circulation, just a handful. No one knows exactly how many. It could be 5. It could be 50. And that's what makes the hunt so thrilling. One man in Ohio found a no mint mark 1968 quarter at a flea market inside an old coin album. Paid a few dollars for the whole book. Had it appraised. And boom, worth nearly $500,000. Another collector discovered his $1 million coin from a box of inherited coins he hadn't touched in 30 years. That's why every box in your attic, every drawer in your nightstand, every jar in your kitchen might be holding a small fortune. This isn't just rare. This is life-changing. With coins like the 1968 no mint mark Washington quarter floating in the wild, anything's possible. The trick is to look. To stay curious. To dig through that old change jar you keep telling yourself you'll roll up one day, because as we've seen, one small piece of metal can unlock generational wealth. So don't toss your change without checking. That one dusty quarter might just be your ticket to a 6-bedroom house, a classic Corvette, and early retirement. And if you've already got one or suspect you do, drop a comment below. Let's see how many hidden millionaires are out there right now. Imagine digging through your old change jar, just looking for enough quarters to grab a coffee, and instead, finding one worth more than a beach house in Malibu. Sounds like fiction, right? But today, we're talking about the 1966 no mint mark Washington quarter, a coin that's turning everyday people into millionaires overnight. One of these little silver-colored beauties recently shocked collectors when it was valued at $1.2 million. Yes, you heard that right. Over $1 million for a coin you might have forgotten in a shoebox. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, how to spot the signs of a rare strike, and how this unassuming coin made its way from spare change to luxury portfolio. Stick around, because we're diving into a treasure hunt where the X is marked right in your pocket. Let's roll back the clock to 1966. America was in the thick of change, civil rights protests, the Vietnam War, and a pop culture boom. But there was another kind of shift happening, quietly. In the US Mint, the nation had just removed silver from circulating dimes and quarters in 1965 due to rising metal costs. The 1966 Washington quarter became part of the early batch of these new plaid coins, copper sandwiched between layers of nickel. But here's where it gets interesting. There were no mint marks on any quarter in 1966. That's right. Whether it was made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, all quarters came out anonymous. This move was meant to discourage coin hoarding, but it also opened the door to some pretty rare errors, and sometimes, those errors turn out to be worth a fortune. So what makes the 1966 quarter such a head-turner in the world of coin collectors? Well, not all of them are valuable. In fact, millions were produced and most are worth 25 cents or maybe a buck or two if they're in mint condition. Oh, the rare ones have something special. Some were struck with leftover silver planchets by mistake. Others have off-center strikes, double dies, or unique surface textures caused by misaligned dies. These anomalies are like birthmarks in the coin world, one of a kind. The $1,000,000 1966 quarter wasn't just lucky. It had the perfect storm, a brilliant uncirculated condition, flawless strike, and a composition anomaly that numismatists can't get enough of. You might be wondering, how can a quarter that looks like all the others be worth more than a Lamborghini? Don't worry, we're getting there, but first, let's talk about the clue that separates an average coin from a jackpot. Pull out a magnifying glass, maybe even a pair of gloves, because when it comes to rare coins, condition and details are everything. An error or anomaly. Double die obverse are one of the hottest. Look closely at the word Liberty or In God We Trust. If you see any shadowing or ghost-like letters, you might be holding something exceptional. The shine and strike. A coin in mint state means it looks almost untouched, no scratches, no worn edges, and definitely no pocket lint. Graders use a scale from 1 to 70, and anything 65 or above can be highly desirable. Weight and color. Believe it or not, some of these rare quarters were struck on leftover silver planchets from 1964. If your 1966 quarter weighs about 6.25 grams instead of the standard 5.67, you could be holding a silver slip-up worth thousands, maybe even millions. A few collectors have even found these rare traits in circulated coins. That's right, coins that have been tossed in change jars, vending machines, and glove compartments. Let me tell you about a man named Curtis from Ohio. Retired, living a quiet life, nothing extravagant. One day, he's rolling coins to take to the bank, and a 1966 quarter catches his eye. It just looked shinier. He tossed it aside and decided to Google it. After a professional grading and an anxious wait, that same coin fetched $98,000 at auction. Not bad for a piece of change he nearly gave to a Coinstar machine, but that's not even the biggest story. One anonymous collector purchased what appeared to be a regular 1966 no-mint mark quarter online for under $50. Turns out, it had a reverse die cap error combined with a rare planchet composition. It later sold through a private numismatic dealer for $1.20 million. Just imagine. One coin. $1 million payday. This is why collectors don't just look at their coins, they study them, and now you're about to learn how they spot the difference between common and colossal. Okay, so let's say you've got a 1966 quarter that looks promising. What next? You don't just list it on eBay and cross your fingers first, you need to get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. These folks will examine every microscopic detail and assign your coin a score. A high grade can increase its value tenfold. Next, think about authentication. Some of these services offer special designations if your coin meets rare criteria, like an error type or metallic anomaly. Once you've got the grading certificate, you can approach auction houses, private collectors, or trusted online platforms like Great Collections. Remember, just like selling a classic car or a rare watch, presentation matters. Great photos, a good story, and the grading report go a long way. Never clean your coin. Cleaning can ruin its value instantly. Let the professionals handle it, but here's the part most people miss, and it's a cliffhanger in itself. Some numismatists believe that we've only scratched the surface of rare 1966 quarters. As more collections get opened, and more estate sales bring long-forgotten coins to light, the competition heats up. That means the value of your rare quarter, if you're lucky enough to find one, could increase with time. In fact, some experts are predicting that rare 1966 quarters with unique errors or silver composition could reach $1.5 million or more within the next 5 years. Because unlike stocks or crypto, coins are tangible. Their history you can hold. And in a world where stability is rare, collectors are paying a premium for something real, rare, and beautiful. So here's the bottom line, that old quarter sitting in your drawer could be the key to a whole new life. The 1966 no-mint Mark Washington quarter may look ordinary, but in the right condition and with the right error, it's nothing short of a treasure. Now's the time to check your jars, your drawers, your granddad's old coin collection. Because the next $1 million discovery could be hiding in your pocket, and if you found today's video valuable, share it with a friend. You never know, they might find a fortune too. Thanks for watching, and remember, it's not just pocket change. It's your piece of American history. Did you know that the change rattling around in your old drawer could make you a millionaire overnight? Sounds too good to be true, right? But today I'm about to take you into a fascinating world where a single coin minted in 1998, yes, just a regular old quarter, could be worth a staggering $1.3 million. So grab a cup of coffee, sit back and get ready, because this isn't just about coins. It's about discovery, legacy, and the possibility that wealth could be hiding in plain sight. Let me tell you about one specific coin, the 1998 P Washington quarter. But before we dive into why this coin is so valuable, let's take a step back in time. Google had just been founded, gas was about $1 a gallon, and the average person never imagined a quarter could be worth more than 25 cents. But in the United States Mint in Philadelphia, something unexpected was happening. The Washington quarter, originally introduced back in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday, was rolling off the presses as usual. The P Mint mark on these coins indicated they were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most historic mints in the country. But little did anyone know that one small variation, one unexpected detail, would send collectors into a frenzy years later. And here's where the story starts to get interesting, because not all 1998 P quarters were created equal. Some of them had a flaws in the coin world. While they can mean fortune, now let's talk about something that turns ordinary coins into treasure: minting errors. Sometimes a misaligned die or a double strike or even the wrong metal planchet sneaks into production. That's when the magic happens, because while the US Mint strikes billions of coins each year, only a few escape with these unique quirks. The 1998 P quarter is no exception. In fact, one rare variation of this coin has become a legend among numismatists. But what exactly makes it worth $1.3 million? That's coming up in just a second. Among the sea of standard 1998 P quarters, one particular coin stood out at first glance. It looked just like any other, but a closer inspection revealed a dramatic minting error. The quarter had been struck on a planchet meant for a different coin entirely. Incredibly rare, it had a blend of wrong metal composition and subtle design anomalies that sent experts into a state of awe. Graded by top coin authentication services and confirmed as a genuine mint error, this coin fetched over $1 million at auction. The final hammer price, a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. One coin, one quarter, one stroke of luck. Still think checking your old change is a waste of time? Well, let's dig deeper into what to look for, because that rare 1998 P isn't the only one out there. There could be more, and they could be sitting in your pocket right now. So how can you tell if your 1998 P Washington quarter is one of the $1 million coins? Here's your checklist. First, look at the metal. If the quarter seems slightly off color or feels lighter or heavier than usual, you may be holding something special. It should be a clean, sharp P located just behind Washington's ponytail. Now comes the real detective work. Examine the details of the design. Look for off-center strikes, doubling in the letters or numbers, strange rims, or unusual textures. A loop or a good magnifying glass will help you spot the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. Collectors and dealers look for these exact signs, and they're willing to pay top dollar for the right coin. But the real trick, knowing who to trust when you find one. Now you might be wondering, who would pay $1 million for a quarter? Believe it or not, the coin market is booming. Auction houses, private collectors, museums, and even investment groups are all in on the action. With inflation rising and alternative assets becoming more popular, rare coins have become a store of value and a status symbol. And the 1998 P quarter, with its incredible error, has become the poster child for what's possible. It's no longer just about numismatics, it's about legacy. Imagine passing down $1 million coin to your children, or selling one and starting that business you always dreamed of. These coins change lives, and the 1998 P did just that for one lucky collector. But here's something even crazier: there may still be uncirculated ones out there waiting to be discovered. Let me tell you about a man I met at a coin convention. Retired military guy from Texas found a 1998 P quarter in a jar on his kitchen counter that had been sitting there for years. He took it to a coin dealer on a whim, thinking maybe he'd get $5 for it. The dealer turned white when he saw it. It turned out to be one of the rare mint errors. He didn't sell it right away. He got it graded professionally. When it finally went to auction, it sold for just over $1.1 million. He paid off his mortgage, helped his grandkids through college, and even bought a little cabin out by the lake, all because he had an eye for detail and took a chance on an old coin. Stories like this are real, and they can happen to you. Start checking your quarters, especially any 1998 P you can find. Use a magnifier. Get familiar with photos of known errors. Join coin forums and learn from others. You don't need to be an expert to get lucky, just curious and consistent. And if you think your coin could be something special, get it graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC, because that one little quarter you almost tossed into the vending machine, it might be your ticket to financial freedom. That something as small and ordinary as a quarter could completely change your life. The 1998 P Washington quarter has already made headlines, and the next $1 million find might still be hiding in plain sight. Don't forget to subscribe, because in our next video we're uncovering another rare US coin that's currently breaking records at auction, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. What if I told you that sitting in your old coin jar, tucked away in a dusty drawer or coffee can in your garage, could be a quarter worth over $1 million? Yes, I'm talking about a regular-looking 1990 D Washington quarter. Not gold. Not diamond-encrusted. Just a plain old quarter you probably spent on a soda or parking meter years ago. But here's the twist. Some of these 1990D quarters are far from ordinary. One recently made headlines with a jaw-dropping market value of $1.4 million. You heard that right. A single 25-cent coin turning into enough money to buy your dream home, travel the world, or retire early in style. Stick with me, because we're about to uncover the secrets behind this coin, what makes it so valuable, and how to know if you've got a hidden treasure sitting in your own pocket change. And believe me, by the end of this video, you might find yourself digging through every drawer in your house. The U.S. Mint in Denver was rolling out millions of Washington quarters. At first glance, the 1990D quarter looks like every other coin in your change. Washington's profile on the front. The majestic eagle on the back. The D-Mint mark just to the right of Washington's ponytail, signaling it was minted in Denver. Now here's the thing. Most of these coins are worth exactly 25 cents, or maybe a few bucks in pristine condition. Hang on, we're about to break that down, but first, let's look at the coin structure. The 1990D quarter is made from a clad composition, copper in the core, nickel on the surface. The total mintage was in the hundreds of millions. So it's not about how many were made. It's about how rare the defects and variations are in some of the coins, and that's where the value skyrockets. The $1 million 1990D quarter wasn't just lucky. It had rare features that set it apart. Specifically, we're talking about error coins. These are coins that came off the minting press with mistakes, and collectors absolutely love them. Now imagine a coin with a double die error, where the design appears slightly doubled. Or one where the planchet, the blank metal disc, was struck off-center or with missing elements. Some 1990D quarters have minting errors that make them ultra-rare. One specific coin featured a dramatic off-center strike paired with a strong double die obverse. It was in near-perfect condition. We're talking MS68 or higher on the grading scale. For non-collectors, that's like having a classic car in showroom condition with zero scratches and a perfect engine. Most coins coming off the press have tiny flaws. But this one? It was flawless and rare, the perfect storm for collectors, and when demand meets rarity, price shoots into the stratosphere. That's not the only reason this coin is worth millions. Coming up, I'll reveal a little-known fact about the Denver Mint's production run in 1990 that could make your coin more valuable than you think. In 1990, Denver was pumping out coins like a factory in overdrive. But due to human error and aging machines, a small batch of coins slipped through with minting mistakes. Now here's something few people know. The Mint did not immediately catch some of these errors. That means they went into circulation, into your pocket, your glove compartment, maybe even your grandkids' piggy bank. For years, these coins were considered junk change, but the coin market has changed. What used to be dismissed as a mistake is now seen as treasure. Collectors hunt for these error coins like modern-day gold miners. You're at a garage sale and someone offers you a box of coins for 20 bucks. Tucked inside is a 1990D quarter with an off-center strike, a crisp luster, and a near-perfect grade. That coin could be worth $1.4 million right now. And here's what keeps collectors up at night. Most of these rare 1990D quarters haven't even been found yet. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. First, grab a magnifying glass. Seriously. This isn't the time to eyeball it like a casual observer. Doubling of letters or numbers, especially in God We Trust, or the date and off-center strike, where the image isn't perfectly aligned, a thick or missing edge, known as a broad strike error, unusual coloration or luster, signs of high-grade preservation, no scratches, no wear, strong details. Next, check the coin's grade. Professional coin grading services like PCGS and NGC will rate your coin on a scale from 1 to 70. Anything above 65 and rare? You're in the big leagues. And here's a cliffhanger. Do you know there's a specific 1990D quarter that was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin? That's right. A US quarter with the wrong metal, and it made its way into circulation. I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. The record sale of the rarest known 1990D Washington quarter with a minting error and high-grade condition went for $1.4 million at a private collector's auction, and that was just one example. Experts estimate there could still be 10 to 20 of these ultra-rare 1990D quarters out there floating in coin jars, storage units, or old coffee cans. Now let me tell you about a man named Roy in Missouri. He was a retired railroad worker, and he had a shoebox full of old coins. His grandson showed him a video just like this one, and Roy decided to check that shoebox. A 1990D quarter with a broad strike error and mirror-like finish. He sent it in for grading. MS67. That coin sold for $850,000 at auction. Roy paid off his mortgage, bought a fishing cabin, and still had enough left over to help each of his grandkids with college. If you have a 1990D Washington quarter, don't ignore it. Examine it closely. Compare it to online guides, send it for grading if you see anything special. Condition matters. Error matters. Rarity matters. Being willing to look. Because the people who strike it rich in this hobby are the ones who take action, you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to spend thousands. You just need to start looking. Check your jars, your drawers, your boxes. Talk to your dad, your uncle, your grandfather. You never know who might be sitting on a hidden treasure, because that humble 1990 dequarter in your hands? It might just be your ticket to a brand new life. And here's the final cliffhanger. In our next video, we're diving into another rare US quarter with a shocking backstory involving a presidential mistake and a misprinted die that made collectors lose their minds. You don't want to miss it.